So, is A Court of Thorns and Roses as good as everyone says? Yes. Yes, it is. And here's why. Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, we are going to be doing a review for A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I've actually filmed this video already, but I decided to refilm it because in that video I was very serious, and I feel like I'm not portraying my character, my personality to you guys correctly, because I'm a pretty serious person, but I'm also not serious, and I'm a pretty happy person, and typically when I film these videos it's right after school and I'm like drained and I just kind of like look serious, but I promise I'm not that serious of a person. So I'm refilming this video. Yay, woo, I get to talk for another 20 minutes about A Court of Thorns and Roses. But anyways, let's just do a little video, let's just do a little review on this novel. It's amazing. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. This is my new favorite series. I've currently finished the first and the second one. I have yet to have read the third one, and I've been putting off filming this review. I put off filming this review for a long time. Like, I only filmed the review that I am refilming this for, like, a week ago. I read the book in September, and it took me about a month to get my thoughts in order to do a proper review on it, and then I decided that I didn't like it. But I am here now, and I am ready to talk about one of my new favorite series. It's amazing. It's so good. I don't remember what I gave this. I feel like I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, but I could be wrong. It's definitely a plus book. It's definitely one of my new favorite series. It's so good. But for those of you who don't know, this book basically revolves around our main character, Feyre, and she lives in a world where there's two different realms. There's the human realm, and then there's the fairy realm. And basically, the humans and the fairies have a long-standing feud. The humans are terrified of the fairies. The fairies have, like, powers and are magic and are horrible, horrible creatures who like to eat the humans and torture the humans and be horrible to the humans. And the humans don't really like that, you know? I don't blame them. I would be terrified too. But basically, Feyre goes out hunting for her family, and she has to basically keep care of them. So she's out hunting one day in the forest, and she finds this wolf. And she decides to kill the wolf just because. And turns out this wolf was a fairy. And so another wolf shows up at her house one night and basically says she broke the law, and so she either gets to be killed or has to go to the fairy realm with him and live out the rest of her life in the fairy realm. And, well, wouldn't you know it, she ends up going to the fairy realm instead of being killed, and ends up falling in love with this wolf who ends up being a high lord fairy, who can turn into a human. He's a shapeshifter, and they end up falling in love with each other, and this book revolves around them. And there's like this horrible thing that's happening in the fairy realm, and Feyre can help to destroy it. She doesn't really realize that she can help destroy it, but she can help destroy it. And that's kind of like what the entire novel surrounds around. And it's pretty legit. Like, it's pretty legit. Sarah J. Maas is an incredible author. The way that she develops their relationship is so cool. And while I might not like Tamlin, who is the wolf that came and took her away, and she ends up falling in love with in this book, while I might not like Tamlin all that much by the end of the novel, I still like their relationship in this novel. Like, it was Feyre's first introduction into the novel. And again, I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. I believe it was so good. It was so good. And if you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend it. But I can understand why some people wouldn't like it. If you're not a fan of romance, like legit romance, like ooey gooey, cliche, falling in love with each other romance, probably not the book for you. Just gonna point that out there. It definitely has that. It also definitely has some explicit scenes in it. So if you're younger, also probably would wait a couple years to read it. If you're not a fan of fantasy, especially high fantasy, definitely wouldn't recommend this, because this is definitely a high fantasy book, and it definitely has a lot to do with that. If you don't like fairies, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Don't read it. I don't know, have I been saying don't watch it this entire time? Don't read this book if you don't like any of those things. But if you do love high fantasy and you love magic and you love fairies and you love reading about worlds that are created, this is definitely a book for you. It's really, really good. I love her characters. I love Feyre. Feyre is the love of my, I love Feyre. She's so great. And I love how Sarah J. Maas portrays her in a real way. Feyre is not perfect by any means. I got really frustrated when I was reading it at times, though, because Feyre is a human. She is so strong in the beginning of the novel, and then throughout the novel you kind of see her, when she goes to the fairy realm, she becomes super, super weak and doesn't want to do anything. She listens to whatever Tamlin says. She is terrified, and that is so realistic because she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be terrified of these fairies who are more powerful than her, stronger, bigger, faster, just all in all, horrible, horrible creatures that she's been hearing about her entire life, and she's terrified of them. She's been terrified of them her entire life. So just because she lives in the fairy realm doesn't mean she should stop being terrified of them. And slowly she starts to become a little bit more open to Tamlin and his court, but especially when she meets the lady under the hill near the end of the book, she becomes terrified again, and I do not blame her, and that is so real, but she keeps going, and that is what gets me about Feyre. Feyre does not give up, no matter what she does, and that's such an admirable trait. Feyre is great. You can't, how do you, it's just the way that she does it is so good, and Sarah J. Maas writes it in a way that's amazing, and she's so good at action scenes. She's really good at showing her characters in the way that they develop, and I especially love that Feyre is a painter, so the way that Feyre looks at the world is through a painter's mind, through a painter's eye. She sees a picture in everything. She sees a drawing in everything. She looks at the world and she sees art. And the way that Feyre describes that to us throughout this novel is just one of those things that keeps reminding you, she is an artist. And the way that Feyre's character develops, the way that she changes with the circumstances that she's in, the way that the circumstances she faces changes her, really shows a lot. And, I feel like Tamlin wasn't quite the perfect match for her, despite the fact that she does a lot of the stuff that she does in this novel because of him and because of her love for him. But I don't know. It's really, really good. I especially love the realm that she develops and the backstory behind it, how humans are supposed to be terrified of fairies and how they built the wall because of this great war that happened a long time ago when all the humans rebelled, and how there's the fairy realm was split into different realms as well, the day and night court, then the seasons court, so you've got fall, spring, winter, summer, the summer court, those kinds of courts, and how each of the courts has their high lord who is in charge of the entire realm, and how there's high fae, and then there's a lesser fae, and just in total the realm, the world that she describes and the way that she does it, and how it's set, how it works, how everything comes together is so amazing, and I cannot get enough of this world, and I'm so excited to see what else Sarah J. Maas is going to put into this world, because I've heard she's going to write another series that has to do in the fairy realm, that doesn't have to do with the same characters, but is in this realm, and I am so excited. It's legit, I'm excited, and I just love Feyre's relationships with everyone and how they're different with everyone, because that's just so real. I don't know. I love this book. It's so good. But again, I would recommend this book if you like books like Truth Witch or Six of Crows or Caraval or anything that has to do with, I don't know, what else is high fantasy, especially if you like Throne of Glass, because that's Sarah J. Maas's other series. I haven't read it yet, but it's also apparently really, really good. You'll probably like this. But I know this book isn't for everyone, so I will admit that the first book might not be the most amazing book out of the series. The second book is definitely better than the first book, and I would highly, highly recommend, if you read the first book and you don't like it, just continue on with the series, get to the second book at least, because you will enjoy it, I promise. The second book was really good. But again, I know it's not for everyone, so if you're not interested in this book, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. You don't have to read it. You don't have to go, you can go your whole life without reading certain books. And this is one of those books that you don't have to read, but I genuinely enjoyed it. Another thing to talk about is the fact that this book is a loose Beauty and the Beast retelling. The way that Belle gets taken because she wants to save her father, it's very similar to the way that Feyre in the beginning of the novel killed the wolf. Her father says that he's the one that killed it, and then Feyre's like, no, it was me, and she goes and gets herself taken to this realm that she doesn't really want to, in a house with, like, Tamlin, who is the beast, who she's not really interested in because he's he's a beast, like, come on. And everyone has, like, masks, and everyone is under a curse. And the way that she leaves and then she comes back, just like the battle in general, her having to save him, the way that they fall in love, the way that Feyre is the one that has to break the curse, a lot like Beauty and the Beast has to break the curse. I'm trying not to spoil anything, and I don't think I have yet, but it's just, like, just in general, it's amazing. Like, I can't. Like, it's so good. And Beauty and the Beast, if you guys don't know this, Beauty and the Beast is my favorite princess movie. I love Belle because I am quite literally Belle in human form. And just, like, in general, I found this book really amazing. It wasn't until after I finished reading the book that I saw the similarities and the parallels between Beauty and the Beast and this novel, but it's definitely, the first one at least, is definitely based off of Beauty and the Beast. And I loved that. I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler thing here at the end, so I think that that's all that I can say that's not spoilery, that's spoiler free. So I'm going to leave all of you people who are just here to see my opinion on the book you have not read yet here. That is all that I can say for this novel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and for those people who are going to stick around and hear me rant for a little bit about stuff that happens in this novel real quick, welcome, and thanks for joining me. So, first order, I don't really like Tamlin. I mean, I thought he was okay, and then I started to get to the end of the novel where Feyre goes under the hill to basically fight for him. Tamlin ignores her because he doesn't want to be hurt. Because he doesn't want her to get hurt, and, like, I get it, but, like, at the same time, I was really annoyed. And then, like, the only time he doesn't ignore her is because she gets to her last trial, and he thinks she's going to die, so she risks her life to basically make out with her, and it pisses everyone off, and Feyre doesn't really realize anything is wrong with that, and she keeps fighting, and then you can kind of see at the end of the novel how she kind of stops fighting for him and starts fighting for everyone, and doesn't really care about Tamlin anymore. Like, she just wants to make it out alive of this. Like, that is what she starts fighting for near the end, is herself and her own life, just to get everyone through it. And it's pretty great. In the trial she has to go through where she kills the two fairies, and then Tamlin thinks that she's, like, okay, and I'm just like, no, she's never going to be okay again. Like, she's gonna be broken for a really long time. And also, can we talk about Rhys real quick? At the end of this novel, no, low-key, like, I was legit, like, when we see Rhys for the first time, it's when he's at the festival, and she describes him as the most gorgeous person in the world, and it was that moment that I was like, is she gonna end up dating this dude? Because she's dating Tamlin right now, and I don't know how I feel about that, because that was when I still liked Tamlin. And then you see him again at the end of the novel, and he is the one that roots for her, despite the fact that he could be tortured and hurt or whatever from the queen, whose name I cannot remember for the life of me. Then he goes and helps her and starts a bargain with her to basically take, like, a week of her life a week where she has to come and stay at the High Castle with him every month if she makes it out alive. And I was low-key like, why do I like them together? And, like, the way that their bond happens there, and he has that bargain, and it basically puts, like the tattoo on her arm, and how they can communicate with each other through that bargain, and that bond was so good, and I was like, why do I want them together? And then I found out that they actually do end up together, and I was like, I called that, yikes. The way that Rhys is, like, protective of her, and he, like, does everything just to keep her, like, safe and away and to piss Tamlin off, it's amazing, and I love the relationship that they start to form at the end of this novel, and I'm obsessed with them. I am obsessed with them. Obviously, like I said, I've read the second book, so I know a lot more, but, Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I can't. And then just like you can see, like, obviously Feyre's gonna be fucked up at the end of this novel because of what she has to go through, and she is, and I like that she is, and how she kind of, like, the circumstances she goes through really reflects on the way that she acts in her character, and it reflects it in a way that it's real, because we're used to having strong lead female characters who can get through anything, but Feyre's strong, but she can't get through anything because she's still only a human who's in a fairy realm, and the way that she ends up coming back to life because they turn her into a fairy and all the High Lords like give her blood or give her their magic or whatever. Oh, I was like, hell yes, I'm in love. But I don't know, I'm just in love with all of these characters, and I'm so excited to start the third book. I should be saying I'm so excited to start the second book, but it's been like a month since I finished this novel. I don't know, but that is all that I can say for this video. I love this book. I'm so excited to do my review on the second one, which is going to be coming out hopefully soon. But that's all that I can say about this novel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to stick around, and if you do, I guess that I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!